Good morning, friends. Hi, hi, hi. I am so excited to have you guys here with me today as we talk about the DAFT visa in the Netherlands and just living in the Netherlands as a Black woman with Wendy from Enjoying the Journey. Welcome, Wendy.
Hello, hello everyone.
Hello, hello. Glad to have you here. Tell the people a little bit about yourself while they start.
Sure. So I'm Wendy. I'm an American that moved to Europe back in 2014. I actually lived in Germany for 4 years. I lived there, I worked there. And then I was recruited by a Dutch company and I moved to the Netherlands in 2018 and have been living here ever since. I'm married. I'm a mom to some adult children. I guess I should just say adults. That still live in the United States, and my husband and I, live here in the Netherlands.
Amazing, exciting, all the good things. Before we go any further, good morning to everyone who's watching live. Hey, 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 if you're watching in the future on the replay, hello, hello, hello. Wendy has a YouTube channel where she talks about her life in the Netherlands. It's called Enjoying the Journey, and it's linked in the description. I'll also drop it right here in the comments because I can do that. I know how to do things. I have to tell myself that, Wendy, or it won't happen. I can do things. Wendy's. If you've been considering the Netherlands as a place that you might want to spend some time, subscribe to Wendy's channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why should a Black woman in America be considering the Netherlands as a place to spend some time? And I say this because I have a bias. I didn't tell Wendy this.
Okay, I'm interested to hear your
I didn't
bias.
tell Wendy this, but every time I go to the Netherlands, it's gray. It's rain. Now, it might be my problem for going at the wrong time of year. But once the cold enters my bones, I'm in the hotel room for the rest of the trip. I was there, I want to say 2 years ago, and I went out a couple times, and then I was like, I just have to be inside. I have to do a do-over for this because this can't be the weather that y'all are riding your bikes and collecting tulips with these little
It
baskets.
is.
I don't. I'm confused. So, but I'm a very weather specific person.
Okay.
So, what makes it worth all the gray? Tell me.
So I would say, as a woman who is going through menopause, that is one of the things I love about the Netherlands is
Okay.
our weather, is because
Okay.
it typically doesn't get so hot. This year has been different. Number
Hmm.
one, it started getting hot in June. That is atypical here.
Hmm.
We usually get warm weather closer to the end of the summer, and we've had the hottest days on record this year. As most Americans know, typically in Europe, the Netherlands is no exception. We don't have air conditioner in our homes. Some homes do, but most don't. I have a new build. My home was built in 2019, and we don't have AC. We have underfloor cooling, which that's why I'm always in a long sleeve shirt in my house because my house stays really nice and cool in the summer and warm in the winter because we also have underfloor heating as well. But yeah, it can be gray. It can
Hmm.
rain. But I'm just a glass half full kind of person. So everyone in the chat, don't kill me. This is just my personality.
We love
The
it.
Netherlands is the second largest exporter of food in the world, only behind the United States. We
Oh,
need the rain to help us grow all of this nutritious, delicious food that we share with the rest of the world. It helps feed our animals and things of that nature. So, again, glass half full. I am so appreciative for the water and the rain that we have here. But we also have one of the highest quality of living,
hmm.
uh, really anywhere in the world, but definitely in Europe. I know a lot of people talk about work life balance, but that is so ingrained in the culture here. I only work 4 days a week. So 32 hours a week for me. My husband does 32 as well. Most people do between 32 and 36.
Mhm.
We have like Papa days where there are days where fathers just they take off and they're with their children and they get to enjoy their lives. Most parents take off Wednesday afternoon because that is considered a day where, school gets out and people are just taking care of their children and just living their life. It is not a stigma to need some personal time to yourself, to have a life. Sundays is a day that I practice Nixon, which again is ingrained in the Dutch culture. And that basically means a day where you just have like mental relaxation. You do things just so you can just kind of woosah and relax. And a lot of this can come in different forms. Some people read, some people go for a walk on the beach. I love sitting out on the balcony looking at the clouds. My neighbors don't think I'm weird. It's just part of the culture. So the work-life that balance, the quality of life, the temperature, again, yes, it can rain. Yes, it does get cold. But during the spring and summer is probably the time where I would say people would love to come here because the sun does make an appearance. I do need to take vitamin D sometimes during the winter. But those are just the tip of the iceberg of reasons why I would say the Netherlands is an amazing country.
Okay, I just learned so much. I had no idea. I'd never heard the stat about food before coming from the
Oh,
Netherlands.
okay.
So already, champs, team, we have learned. If you all know, you may have already known that. I did not know that. You gave all of these like cultural reasons and like family reasons and really good things, and then dropping knowledge bombs in the comments said they speak English, weed is legal, and they're an EU country. A different approach, but also very, very valid. Right?
They are dropping knowledge bombs is very true. The Netherlands is one of the most proficient English speaking countries in the world. Sometimes I joke that their English is better than mine. For them, English is almost not like a second language, it's like native. Most Dutch people speak English, excuse me, Dutch, English, and then a foreign language. So French, Spanish, German. It really depends on what part of the country they live in. When I was on the eastern side, we were right close to Germany, so everybody like spoke German. The northern part, you will speak German as well. And then when you get down to the south, French, because you're right there with Belgium as
Mhm.
well. So yeah, they speak English. As far as yes, it is legal here, but most Dutch people, most residents, we do not partake. It's really something that tourists
Huh.
take part in. And definitely it is part of the EU, and we take that serious here.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So, Crystal Rosemond, that's your friend?
That is my friend. Hi,
Hey,
Crystal.
Crystal. Hey. And then Yolanda is checking in from Spain. She's our resident Spanish. She's our resident Spanish resident uh,
Nice.
in Zaragoza. Junquette says she really likes the Netherlands, specifically Amsterdam. She loved the canals and biking culture, even though I don't bicycle. All right, so let's talk. I want to talk about different parts of the Netherlands, but before we go that, let's walk kind of through how you ended up in the Netherlands. So you were working for a company in the U.S.
Mhm.
and things happened,
Yeah.
and they said, "What about Germany for a year?"
Yeah, I was offered an opportunity to do a 1 year assignment at a sister brand in Germany. I was in Rheinland-Pfalz, that's a state within Germany. It's where our US base is headquartered. The largest US base outside of the United States is located in Ramstein, Germany. And I worked in Kaiserslautern. And yeah, so a lot of Americans are there, but I went there for work on a 1 year assignment. 9 months into my assignment, the managing director asked me to stay permanently. So I set up a corporate office there in Germany, and I worked there for 4 years. And then I was recruited by a Dutch company to come to the Netherlands and work in 2018.
Okay. All things being equal, say you don't work anymore. So that's not a consideration.
Mhm.
Germany or the Netherlands, which one would you rather live in?
Because I love my husband dearly, it would be the Netherlands, because he struggled with Germany.
Okay.
The language barrier was just something that was really difficult for him to get over. So it was hard for him to find work.
Mhm.
And coming to the Netherlands, and I want to say to everybody in the audience, even though they are proficient in English, please, 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 if you're gonna come here, learn the local language. Your world will open up. But the
Mhm.
Dutch are very pragmatic, and my husband has a skill set that they could utilize. So he was able to find a job in the Netherlands with no issue, but it wasn't that easy in Germany.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons why I would pick the Netherlands. The other reason why I would pick the Netherlands is just because this country gets me.
Really? Tell us
They
more.
get me. Oh my God. I don't want to cry on your channel, but
We
this
crying
is
is loud. So
this is the first place that I've lived a long time where I could just exhale,
hmm
be me.
hmm
And no one was asking me to perform. Matter of fact, if you did perform, they would let you know it and let you know that they weren't going to tolerate it. And I prefer direct conversations. I don't like the whole beating around the bush kind of thing. I like just tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you want. It just makes it easier for
hmm
me. I like the anonymity of where I live in the Netherlands. But if I want to engage and be inside of a community, I can do that as well. Yeah, I can just be me. And mm, this country does it for me. It
Okay.
does it for me. Yeah.
Okay. Um, that's so good to hear. I love it when people land in a place that they really, really like. So, do you picture yourself being in the Netherlands for the rest of your life?
I will die here.
All right, then. She said it and she meant it.
I
Okay.
meant it.
Okay. Awesome. And you are a permanent resident
I
in the
am.
Netherlands
I
now.
am.
Can we talk about now? To be clear to everyone, you did not come through a DAFT visa.
No, I did not.
You came on a work visa.
I
Is that
did. I came on to Germany on what's called a EU blue card. So it's for a highly skilled immigrant.
okay?
And then
And
when I came to the Netherlands, it was the same type of visa. Of course, the Dutch have their own word for it. But I came kind of on the same visa. And now I'm a permanent resident. So I don't need the sponsorship of an employer.
okay, so let's talk permanent residency. What was the process of getting it like?
Yeah. So the first thing is that you have to live here 5 years uninterrupted. So that's the first qualification that can stop a lot of people because if you've been here for a year and then you leave and go somewhere for a year and come back, the clock kind of starts
Mhm.
over. So number one, you need to be here 5 years. There are about 6 parts to the integration exam. One part I was exempt from, and that's the one where you learn about working in the Netherlands, how to get a job, what's expected, the culture, the work culture in the country. Because I had already been here for over 5 years, I knew that. So I applied for an exemption. They exempted me out of that. One of the 5 parts is to really get to understand the country. I went to school. I did an immersive class. You can take as long as you like. I wanted to get mine and get it done quickly because I was under the gun when I got laid off. I only had a certain period of time to either get my permanent residence or find another job or leave. So I did an immersive class where it was 5 days a week, 8 hours a day of school. You have an additional 2 to 4 hours of study every day. So I was doing 10 to 12 hours 6 days a week. On Sunday, I would just sit in the corner and cry because I just I
Tired.
was stressed. And yeah, so I went to school. So one of the parts is you learn about the culture, you know, laws, everything about the country. So that's a test that you have to take. Another one is listening. So you will listen to some things and then you have to respond. So they want to test your listening skills in Dutch, your
Mhm.
speaking skills, your reading skills, your writing skills. And I always do. Yeah, those were the five, and I told you I was exempt out of the six. So those were the five. Um, in the Netherlands, we have testing that is usually done on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best. For four of the exams, I would get anywhere between like a 7 and a 9. But baby, when I did the speaking, when I do anything, it's usually going to take to the next level. I fail spectacularly. The first test, I got a 3.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, oh dear Lord, this is awful. So let me study some more.
Uh-huh.
So the second test, I got a 4. I was
Mhm.
like, Jesus, am I going to be able to live in this country? And my neighbor has a daughter that is a primary school teacher. And she said, Wendy, come over. We're going to spend some time together. And this young lady worked with my outsprach, my pronunciation, because
Mhm.
that's where I struggle.
Okay.
And I was able to make a 6. So, yay! That
Yeah.
was passing. And that's how I was able to finish the integration exams. Once you finish the integration exams, then you have to apply at IND, which stands for Immigration Naturalization Department, IND.nl, if anybody wants to go to the site. Sorry, I always say that in Dutch. IND
Dot
dot,
NL.
yes. And you have to apply. Now, I did hire an immigration attorney because I wanted to make sure that I was submitting all of the documents, like your financial stuff, your tax information, things like that, so you can show that you won't be a burden
Mhm.
on society. Because I was already in the system, I didn't have to go through like the background checks and all that stuff again. That had already been done, but you do have to go and take biometrics, so fingerprints, your photo and all of those kind of things, and then you wait for approval. And I sat for about 3 weeks. It was actually really fast for me. And I got an post via post that said, congratulations, gefeliciteerd. You're
Yay.
now a permanent resident. And I just cried. I was so grateful.
Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know my first 3 on the exam had you shook.
Oh, this is the one thing I would tell people. And mentally, I get it, but I don't think you appreciate it till you start going through it. When you're learning another language, you're going to make mistakes.
Mhm.
And I don't care how good you are, how well spoken you are, how educated you are, you're going to make mistakes. And you just got to get past that. And that's where I struggle. I wanted to be so proficient at day one.
Right.
And now here it is, several years later, and my 2-year-old neighbor can outspeak me in Dutch. That is a humbling
It,
experience when a 2-year-old is like, oh, dear Lord,
it is.
you are
It
awful.
really it is in the sense that like you've spent a lifetime being good at what you do, right? Your whole career, you've been good
Mhm.
at what you do, right? And
Exactly.
now it's like, what what's that? The other day, so I live in Mexico City. The other day there was a marathon and people were walking down the street and I was like, oh, I'm everybody's biggest cheerleader. Let me see a stranger. And I'm like, yay, go you. So I'm like, oh, let me tell them congratulations. And then I was like, congratulations, congratulations. I know the word is in here. The word is in here, but it doesn't want to come out. Like
Yeah.
I've been studying I've been taking college level Spanish courses for years, and
Oh,
I'm still like, what is? Finally, I gave up trying to remember it and just went to the translator, and it was like felicidades. Of course, felicidades. I so I'm walking down the street now. Felicidades, felicidades. Right. Once I got it, I was like, hey, hey. But remember the like humbling nature of knowing that like a word is right there,
yeah.
you can't get it,
Yeah.
or it doesn't sound like what you want it to sound like. You know what it's supposed to sound like, but it doesn't sound like that when it's leaving your mouth. Crazy,
Yeah,
crazy.
it is. Even where I live in a district in The Hague. So you may hear me say Den Haag or The Hague. It's the same thing. Den Haag is the Dutch version. The Hague is the English, for anyone listening. And I live in a district that back during World War II, native speakers could tell whether you were friend or foe based on how you pronounce this word. And I just struggle with the SCH in Dutch. So
Uh-huh.
I just say Scheveningen, but it should be like Scheveningen. So there are some words in Dutch where I really, really struggle. I don't have the guttural
Hmm.
R. I don't do so well there. I do my best. But then in my head, I'm thinking, do they think I'm making fun of their word?
Right.
So now I'm like, do I say it? Do I not say it?
Your brain's in overdrive trying to figure out what the right answer is.
Right.
Okay. So part of my experience in Mexico City is that I know that as long as I'm here, I'm always going to be seen as an outsider, right? People are never going to be like, oh, she's Mexican, right? Or like maybe she is like in other places in Colombia, I can get away with I have enough Spanish and I can get away with being like maybe she's one of us. Um, how do you feel about that in the Netherlands? Are there moments where people are like, "Are you one of us?" Or is it really obvious that you're not?
When I speak, of course, they know
Okay.
that I'm an American. When they look at me, they have no idea because there are multicultural. I mean, diversity here is on a whole nother level. I mean, diversity of cultures, diversity of religion, diversity of sexual orientation, diversity of thought. You're
Mhm.
going to find that here. And because there are so many people from different backgrounds that are in relationships that have children, you can't necessarily look at someone and go, but when you start to speak, of course, they know. But it's a little bit different here because um, when you are a person that is respectful of the culture, appreciate the norms and the values, and you act accordingly, they have no problem welcoming you. And I have been told more than once, oh, yeah, you're a Dutchie at this point, which I just find so endearing when they call me a Dutchie. It just makes me feel amazing. But the thing about living here as a Black woman is first, I'm an American.
Mhm.
Two, I'm a woman. And then third or fourth or fifth, I'm Black. Matter of fact, a lot of people have said to me, "You're not Black though. I don't understand why you calling yourself Black. You look like you're like brown, like caramel." So it's for them, it's just a completely different way. And when I try to explain, the reason why is because I'm from the African diaspora versus, saying I'm brown, which is considered, the Latin diaspora. And they're just like, wait, what? Because that is so not a part of their everyday
Right.
life. They're not ignorant, don't get me wrong. They know about things that happen around the world, but it's just way down on the list of how they would identify me.
Yeah. And race as a construct is built a little differently in, different countries. So
Exactly.
that makes sense. All right. So Mo Will 7124 says, I wouldn't think the Netherlands is that diverse.
Mm.
What Tell us about the diversity that you experience daily. Like what are you seeing when you walk through your neighborhood, go to your grocery store?
Sure. So just right here in my neighborhood, I have people that are Iranians, Polish, Italians, French, Spanish, a couple of Americans, not a lot. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but where I live, not a lot. When I'm on the bus, because I don't own a car, so I either ride my bike, walk, or take public transportation, I will hear five or six, seven different languages around me when people are getting on the bus, and they will start to speak in their native tongue again because Dutch people are like polyglots. If a German gets on, they just switch to German. If a Spanish gets on, they just switch to Spanish. Or maybe if it's Polish, they'll speak English. So I'm hearing all of these different languages on a daily basis. Um, there is a Polish supermarket, a Syrianese supermarket, a Dutch supermarket, a British supermarket within a 15-minute walking distance of my home.
Okay.
Um, so it's extremely diverse. And Mo, I would tell you if you were to go to a city like Rotterdam, Baby, when you just get off the train at Rotterdam Central and walk down, come out of the train station and make a right, I'm like, am I in Brooklyn? Like, what is happening here? It's just so many people from all across the world
Hmm.
that live here. And in my city of Den Haag, we are the seat of government. So this is where all of the embassies are. So if you're a foodie, this is where you want to come because you will have Yemeni chefs. You will have chefs from South Africa or Zimbabwe. And these are people that like own the shop, cook their food, they're getting their spices and everything from their home country. So it is extremely diverse here.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
Yep.
Um, you mentioned Rotterdam, and Stephanie wanted to know if you can give us a quick rundown of the differences between Amsterdam, The Hague, Utrecht, and Rotterdam. Den Haag. I'm I'm working on my.
Sure, Stephanie. So I'll give you first a little insider joke that they have here in the Netherlands is Amsterdam is where you spend your money, Rotterdam is where you make your money, and The Hague is where they tax your money. So that kind of gives you an idea. The area that you're describing, Stephanie, is called the Randstad. So this is probably where the majority of people live in the Netherlands. And from a personal perspective, when I'm in Amsterdam, people speak to me in English first.
Mhm.
When I'm in The Hague, Dutch is spoken first. Um, Utrecht is very young, very vibrant because they have a university there. Um, so does Amsterdam. Don't get me wrong, but it's a different vibe, if you will. It's in the middle of the country, so it's easy to get to everywhere. And then Rotterdam is one of these cities. Number one, it was destroyed in World War II. There were only a couple of places that were left standing. One of them being, I think, a clock tower, and so they decided to rebuild the country very modern. So when you go to Rotterdam, it has a very different look and feel than Amsterdam, The Hague, or Utrecht. But again, it's very diverse. But it's also, to me, it feels more hustle and bustle, more go. It's the place of the largest port in Europe, so a lot of commerce is happening in Rotterdam. And then The Hague, again, is our seat of government. Some people say that it's posh. I don't know. Maybe that's true. I'm not posh, so that's maybe why I don't see it. But it is, yeah, it's kind of what you would think if you would go to a place where that's the country's seat of government. So that's how I would kind of describe it.
Okay. And Rotterdam, what I've heard is that's where a lot of Black people are.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
I think that, but when we say Black people, I think we need to kind of step back a little bit
Uh-huh.
because you have people that are from like the Caribbean,
Hmm.
places where the Netherlands went in and colonized. I don't know a better way of saying that. It's just a fact. You have people that are from territories of the Netherlands. For a lot of people that are listening, the Netherlands is a kingdom. So we actually have a king and queen. So we have territories abroad. So you've probably heard of Curacao. So you have people from Curacao, but you have people that were part of that colonialization from Suriname. So you have people from Surinese background. But again, you have people that come from African countries that are here. So it's not just Black Americans.
Right.
It is the Black diaspora, I guess you would.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right. And Stephanie, thank you too for your answer. All right. So if someone's watching now, Black woman watching right now, wants to move to the Netherlands, what is the fastest and slash no fastest or easiest, I'll take it either way for her to get to the Netherlands and stay there legally for a couple of years?
Okay. So I would say the fastest way would probably be the DAFT visa.
Mhm.
And when I say the DAFT visa, I am talking specifically to American citizens because
Mhm.
that is the first requirement. DAFT stands for Dutch American Friendship Treaty. So this is a treaty between the US and the Netherlands. There is one with Japan. A lot of people don't know that, but there is a visa for Japan. But I'm going to stick with
A
the
Dutch visa with Japan.
yes, the Dutch visa with Japan. They have a treaty as well.
Yes.
But as an American citizen, the first thing is you have to be an American with a valid passport. And you can come over here and you can start a business. So it's sort of like an entrepreneurial visa.
Mhm.
That's the way you kind of think of this DAFT. And you can come over on your US passport, which will allow you to stay in the country for 90 days. No issue there. You will have to make a deposit within a Dutch bank account of 4,500 euros. This amount of money must stay in your Dutch bank account the entire length of your stay in the Netherlands. So that's number two. You will need to apply for the DAFT. So you please go to the ind.nl website so you can look at all the requirements and everything. You will need to apply for the DAFT. You can do that here in the country. You will also need to go to what we call the KVK, which basically is the Chamber of Commerce in the Netherlands, and there is one in every province. We don't have states here, we have provinces. And you go there and apply. And it costs about 80 euros at the KVK to apply. You can decide what kind of business you want to start. You can be a consultant, an accountant, you can be a dog walker, you can be an artist, you can be a singer. But you are allowed to start that business and do however you want. Your business must be active and it must be operational. You can't just come over here and set up a business and go, I got my copy card number, my 4,500 euro in the bank, and now I'm just going to kind of chill. That's not how it works. You actually need to be active in this business. What you don't have to do is make a certain profit. You also don't have to show that you are making sales every week or every month or something like that. It just needs to be active because they will check.
Mhm.
You start the business, you apply for the DAF visa. You also need to go to the IND to get biometrics. So, again, your pictures, your fingerprint, and pay the fee. The fee this year is 423 euros to apply.
Mhm.
So, 4,500, 80 euros at the KBK, 423 euros at the IND. So, those are the fees. Now, here's a caveat. You can come over with your partner and your dependent children.
Mhm.
However, you, as the person that is applying, are not allowed to go and look for a job in the Dutch open market. You are the entrepreneur. You're the one that's on that DAF visa. Your partner can look for work within the Dutch market. So I think that's a beautiful part of the visa. But those are the two distinctions between the holder and the person that you are sponsoring, your partner. The Dutch will determine what is a partner. For most Americans, it is someone that you are either married to or in a long term relationship, like a civil union, or
Mhm.
someone that you've been living with for a while. That's how they kind of define partner. And then dependent children is just that dependent children. And after about, they have 90 days once you submit your biometrics. So you've done all the other things, opened up the bank account, went to the KVK, started, set up the business, and you've done your biometrics. From the point that you do your biometrics, the 90-day clock starts to run. Typically, it takes anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks, usually, to get your results back. If for some reason they need more information, they will let you know. Please respond accordingly because it will just draw out that process time. The Dutch are extremely efficient. They're not going to wait to the last minute. They will send you stuff as they need it. Make sure that you're checking on that. If for some reason it goes past 90 days, you will need to leave the Schengen area because you are only allowed to stay in the Netherlands for 90 days on your American passport. However, you can go and apply for an extension, but you need to talk to the IND first, and then they may be able to give you an extension um, while they are processing your application. And again, this usually only happens if they need additional information.
Okay.
And that's it.
Amazing. There's a lot of this is good happening in the comments. So thank you. Once again, y'all, if you really want to get more information about this, then we're giving you right here. Subscribe to Wendy's channel. She has content about this on her channel, which is how I found her. I was like, what? You're online talking about the DAFT visa. And there she was. So
can I just say one last thing? What I just took you guys through was the DAFT visa. There is another part to regular life that everyone needs to be prepared for, like where you're gonna live, how much those things cost, because those
slow down, Wendy. Okay. We gonna get there, but we got questions first.
Okay.
There's already a cost of living question in the chat, but before we get to the DAFT visa,
I
told you my audience is gonna have they have questions. We are one of the things that I'm really proud of my audience and the community that Stephanie and I have built is that these are women who take action. So now there are women right at home right now jotting down notes like, what do I? Someone already said it sounds easier, I think, than France's visa. There are people who are going to be in the Netherlands because of this video. So let's get to their questions. All right. I think Taltizi and I had very similar questions. She wants to know, can it be an online business or does it need to be a physical business where you have Dutch clients in the country? Which I think is kind of my question too.
That's a wonderful question. And it can be either. You can have an online business. A lot of people that come from America, maybe they already had, let's say, like an e-commerce business, or maybe they did consulting and they have American clients. Fine, bring it on over. No problem.
It doesn't matter the kind of, like if I don't serve anybody in the Netherlands, they're not going to care?
Nope.
Friends. Notes.
Yeah, you would be surprised at the number of Americans, especially after the pandemic, that had online businesses. So a lot of their clients are American-based clients. You just have the time zone piece that you need to work through because the Dutch is going to get their taxes. So,
okay. So part of that is when you're running this business, they are taxing you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're going to get our money. Listen to me saying we going to get our money.
You're like, woo, you are Den Haag at this point, right? You said. Okay. So, all right. So they are taxing the businesses that are there. All right. Do you talk about taxes online on your channel?
I briefly discuss it. I am not a tax attorney, guys. So let's get that one out of the way first. And I hired an accountant.
Okay.
And please don't think like, oh my gosh, she must have a lot of money. No, baby. We don't charge the kind of prices that they charge back in the US. You can afford an accountant here. And I do it because I do not know all the laws and the exemptions and all this stuff. And my accountant handles that. So every quarter I send her all of my information. She does her magic and we submit it to the Dutch government and they go, Wendy, here's your tax bill. And I just transfer it.
All right. I love it. I forgot to share his comment earlier, but I'm never going to pronounce that right. Nejem says, good morning. I'm excited for this live. She just moved to the Netherlands. So congratulations. I hope you're loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome.
And Pretty Kitty Painting said she just finished filling out the DAFT visa. It was pretty straightforward. We love to hear that because a lot of places, a lot of countries make the visa process really convoluted.
Yeah, and it's very convoluted.
Really like, well, maybe you'll get it. We'll see whose desk it lands on, right? So I love hearing that it's straightforward and that it seems like they're very responsive to the people who are applying.
And the Dutch even take it a step further because you can actually track your process online.
Okay.
David, the Dutch don't play. When I tell you they are efficient, they make sure that remember when I told you they don't just like circle around stuff, so it's all out there in black and white. Here are the requirements. This is what you need to do. If you need to take a TB test, they tell you list by country. These are the countries that require it. These are the countries that don't. Like anything that you think, I wonder about this or I wonder about that, go onto the IND site, look it up. If you still have questions, you can actually call and a human being will pick up the phone.
Okay.
I know, crazy. Yeah, crazy.
Okay. All right, so you're taxed in the Netherlands. On the income you make in your business, are you also taxed in the US, or is there a tax treaty where you don't pay taxes in both places?
That's a great question. There is a tax treaty up to a certain amount. And depending upon how much you make, then the US will probably tax you, but it's usually at a lower rate. So let me start with the Netherlands. We have a progressive tax structure. And it's based on income. So once you hit a certain income, you into another tax bracket. Anything over 78,500 euros, I think the number is like 78,453, something like that, but I'll just round it up.
Yeah.
Market about 78.5. Our tax rate is 49.5%. We're going to get our money. Told you. It's not cheap. You see what you get though, but we can talk about that later.
Y'all aren't spending money on bombs to kill them. So,
no.
Okay.
So the tax rate usually, and it depends upon your age as well, where that rate will start, because older people usually it's a little bit lower. But for people that are our age, most of the age of the people that are in your community is usually starting somewhere around 33%, and it goes up to 49.5, but not everything. So once you hit this amount, it's taxed at, and then you hit that next amount and it's taxed at, and then you hit that next amount and it's taxed at. So just know that we do have a progressive tax rate here. Your money will go into a Dutch bank account when you send your information to your accountant, or if you want to do your taxes yourself, you can. And then you just pay the tax bill. Every year we have to file our taxes in the US. I don't know why. We make no money in the US, but the US requires its citizens all around the world. So Roshida, I'm sure you have to do the same thing. We have to file a tax. And I usually wait until my Dutch has been filed and approved, and then I file my US, because I don't want to have to go back and amend anything. Right. But we've never had to pay US taxes. Part of that is because we tend not to go to the US very much, because if you go to the US and you make some money there, you can get taxed there. So that's why I think it's also good to have an accountant, because if you go and you make a little money in the US, let's say you have some clients and you go over there and you do some work, the US is probably going to tax you. But I do everything in the Netherlands. I don't have any clients in the US where I would need to physically go there, do work, and make money. So those are kind of the differences.
Okay. So 49%. What do you get?
49.5.
That little 0.5.
Trust me, I feel it.
Cracking my chest with that 0.5. All right. What do you see that you are getting with your tax dollars that makes it worth it?
Yeah. So number one, I'm an older person. Healthcare matters a lot to me, and they make it very affordable for my husband and I, we pay 150 euros a month for health insurance. And
Say 150 euros?
150 euros, yep. And we have what's called own risk, which basically translates into like a copay,
Uh-huh.
385 euros a year. And then everything else,
Here?
a year
Huh.
is
Okay.
included. So we can go to the GP. We have a few hours of physiotherapy. We have a few hours that we can use toward mental
Mhm.
therapy. If you want to add things on, you can, eyes, whatever, you can add it and then your cost will go up. But because of our taxes, it helps to kind of subsidize a little bit of that cost because a lot of Americans think that healthcare in Europe is free. In the Netherlands, it is not. We pay, like I said, 150. It is mandatory for everyone in the Netherlands to have insurance. So it is privatized, but it's regulated by the government. They cannot take us on because of a pre-existing illness. You're not allowed to do that. And we also don't have medical debt here. So the taxes does help with that a little bit. We have some of the best roads in all of Europe, probably in the world. You're not going to come here and tear your car up on the roads. So we can see it in our infrastructure. When you come to the Netherlands, it would be interesting if Mo, that was in the chat a little bit earlier, has noticed we don't have power lines in the Netherlands. So we don't have all of that visual clutter because most of it is underground. So you can see your tax dollars at work there. We have some of the best schools. You don't have to live in a certain area to have good schools. Children have books. Children are safe. They are not having to do the shooter training
Yeah.
thing. No. We have really good libraries in Den Haag. Jesus, just in my little area, we have like 3 libraries. So where some communities are closing down libraries, closing down hospitals, closing down newspapers, we're not experiencing any of that here. We have something that's called a kinderbunderij, which is near and dear to my heart. I volunteer at a nursing home for patients with dementia, and every week we take them out for a walk. And a kinderbunderij is a place where they have pets, and families are able to bring their pets. So it's like a petting zoo. It's all free, and it's in all different neighborhoods around the city. And we will take our dementia patients there, and you can see like this spark in their eye come there because it kind of reminds them of their childhood, but that is subsidized by the government. We can see it in our cultural experiences. We have a museum card that we only pay 75 euros for, and we get to visit over 400 museums with that one card a year. We have Museum Dog, where twice, 2 days a year, everything is open and free to you. So you can go and experience and enjoy it. So you can see your tax dollars at work through a lot of different things that will help us as a society, not just for a certain group of people or people that live in a certain area.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's your dollars getting put to work.
Yeah.
Remind me again. You said you and your husband each individually pay 150 euros per month for insurance.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then 385 euros a year each as your copay.
Yes. And that's spread out throughout the year. So it's not like the first time you go to the doctor, you pay 385 euros. So far, it is July 19th, and I looked at my paperwork the other day, and so far I've spent like 60 euros of own risk. Because I just, thank God I haven't been sick.
Right.
We talk about antibiotics and all that stuff in the Netherlands because my immune system is amazing now living here. So I don't go to the doctor a lot. So it's not 385 on your first visit. It's spread throughout the year.
Okay, the list of why people might move there is getting a little longer. A little longer. You might be selling me. I might have to leave during the gray times. But speaking of leaving, we had a couple of questions. I think they're related. I don't know if they're the same. Atlaxta says, I'm sure that's ATL Axta. Now that I look at it again. Do you have to remain in the country for a certain period of time, or can you leave after getting the DAFT? Is there a required amount of time you have to physically live in the country per year?
Yeah, last time I looked, it was somewhere around 4 months.
4 months, you have to be in the country for 4 months, or you can only be out? You can leave for 4 months. Okay.
Yeah. But I would have to, again, go to the IND.NL site to specifically look at your situation. But the last time I looked, it was about 4 months.
Okay, so even though you're as a permanent resident right now, is that the same limitation that you have? If you leave from over 4 months, you won't be a resident?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Igami's question was basically the same. How long can you be out of the country and still be considered a continuous resident? So we're going to say 4 months for that too?
Yep.
Same answer? Okay, perfect. All right. Music lover. It took me a minute, but I got there. Says, hi, Wendy. Love watching your videos. I'll be moving there in 3 weeks. Yay.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Yes. You're making it sound pretty good right now.
It is, but I'm willing to tell you about the other parts because it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
All right. So let me write down no. Okay. We're going to cut to no sunshine and rainbows in a minute.
Okay.
I want to make sure we cover all the visa stuff.
Okay.
Are there people who come over? Are there people who come over and are able to find work and then get a work visa, or is it that your company imports you and you get a work visa that way? What's more?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So most people come over with a company. And the company is relocating them. So that's the majority of how people come over. That's how I came over. But you can come over. Let's say you were a student and you came over to study here. We have amazing universities here. And after you finish university, there is what's called a Zoekjaar, which is like an orientation year. And you can spend a year where you can look for work. So that is available as well. So those are usually two of the ways people can come over and find work. Okay.
Surprise.
So, but yeah, most of the time it's people are coming over for their company.
Okay. The second way was they come over and they do, sorry, I got distracted by something in the comments while you were talking. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
They explain the second way again for me.
Yeah, the second way is usually if someone comes over and they came for a university, so they studied here.
Okay.
And then graduated, they have a year, the orientation year, to look for work as well.
Is it easy to come over as a student? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
I should say jein. That's my German word for the day. So yes and no. It is very straightforward in applying for to go to school in the Netherlands. They have the information on the site. If you meet those requirements, more than likely you can come over as a student. However, housing is probably the biggest obstacle for people, and we'll talk about that later, but that can be a huge hurdle to get over.
Housing is on our list of things to hit. But getting into the schools themselves isn't necessary. Like, okay, so France has all these programs where, you come over, you go to any old school and you get residency. If you're there for if your program is 91 days or more, you can get residency for a year. Are there programs like that in the Netherlands, or is it like No, you're coming to go to college. You're coming to get a bachelor's or a master's or a PhD. Is it more like that?
Yeah, it's more
Okay.
like that. At least that's what I am aware of. I did not come over as a student, but what I've read and what I've talked to people about, that's what it's about. Now, I will say it is competitive because our schools are really, really good. Like if you were going to be a surgeon, University of Amsterdam ranks like number 6. If you were going to in agriculture, we have like one of the best agriculture schools in the world. So it is extremely competitive. But if you meet those requirements that are listed and you apply, you have a better chance of being accepted. But there
Okay.
are still obstacles after that.
Okay, friends, if you have questions, visa questions, we're on our visa section right now. So if you have visa questions, drop them in the chat now before we move on to housing and everything and the non-sunshine and rainbow things. Celeste had a visa question, and it's: are you familiar with the inner workings of the retirement visa there?
This is an interesting one because technically there isn't a retirement visa,
Mm-hmm.
technically. We don't have like the golden, I think it was called the golden visa, like that you had in Portugal. Like if you come over with a certain amount of money, you can like buy a visa. That doesn't exist here. So I would tell most people you can come over with the DAFT. Of course, your business needs to be operational. It needs to be active, but you don't have to make, they don't say you must have a 4% profit year over year. That doesn't exist. But with that DAFT visa, you must be able to sustain yourself because the social programs are not going to be available to you. So this is where your retirement income will be helpful for you, or your savings, or however you're able to take care of yourself until your business is profitable. So those are the things that you need to think about in the back of your head. I'm trying not to do the other side of it, but I want to be as straightforward as I can about the DAP. It's not just 4,500. I'm in there
Right.
because you got to pay your rent. You got to pay your utilities. You got to pay for your insurance.
Okay.
These are real expenses.
On the DAFT visa, is the health insurance the same as what you're paying right now, or is it a different? Are the numbers different?
Nope, it's all the same. Everybody pays the same amount for medical insurance. No big I's and little U's here.
I like it. I like it. All right. Okay. Let's see. On the Jazz wants to know if the DAF, if she qualifies for a DAF visa as a single woman with dependents. You said partner and dependents, but if it's a single woman with dependents,
Absolutely.
Okay. I think
Absolutely.
that was your question, Jazz.
Yeah.
But yes.
That's a very good question. And thank you for correcting me. You can come over as a single person, older, seasoned, young man, young woman, with children, with a partner, without a partner. None of those are stipulations. It is just you as the DAFT visa holder would be the one that would be applying. And if you had a partner and if you have dependent children, they can come over and you would be the one sponsoring them. But absolutely, you can come over as a single woman with dependents and use the DAF visa. And the beautiful part is your children can go to school here. We have, of course, Dutch public schools, but they also have international schools as well.
Okay. And Stephanie, did I start that comment? I don't think I did, but Stephanie wanted to remind us that the Netherlands has graduate degrees under 10K a year with programs taught in English. So even if I know I made a face at grad school, but if you didn't make the same face when I said grad school, the programs are affordable. They're taught in English, so they're competitive, but it could be your way into the country.
I wish, just picking up on what Stephanie is saying, I wish I would have known what was available to me because when I left graduate school, so between undergrad and graduate, and I'm just one of those people, I didn't have enough money to pay for an apartment and all the other expenses, so I got a little bit more added to my loan. When I came out, I was $134,000 in student loan debt. I could tell you guys a whole story, but we were $414,000 in student loan in debt. So out of 414, 134 was just student loans. If I would have known now, then what I know now, oh my God, I would have come to the Netherlands, because when I tell you the education here is superb, it is not because it's cheaper, it's inferior. That is not true. If you were going to the University of Amsterdam and you were studying to be the surgeon and the school is sixth in the world, that is not inferior by any stretch.
Okay. Janice says, what if I only have retirement income and don't want to work? Is there a way into the Netherlands?
This is when I would say you would definitely want to get with an immigration attorney. There is not again, quote unquote, like golden visa or something like that you can get here. It's just, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Is the DAFT visa a pathway to citizenship? I know Michelle says she knows you can get permanent residency.
Yeah, it is. Once you become a permanent resident, you can apply for citizenship. Just know that you will more than likely need to renounce your American citizenship. There is a fee. It has been reduced. You also need to be mindful of what the American government will, I hate to say put you through, but will require of you when you renounce your citizenship. And you also want to think about, how does this impact your relationship with the United States once you become a Dutch citizen? I'm tiptoeing around this a little bit because I am not an immigration attorney.
Right.
So, but yeah, Michelle, you can get citizenship.
Okay. So Michelle's next question, I think you kind of just answered, but is there an exception to the no dual citizenship?
It is.
There is an exception to the rule?
It is. There is an exception.
What is? Come on.
Oh, I would have to look this up because I don't really.
I think it being there is enough. Knowing that there is an exception. Our women are not afraid of a little homework. So
yeah, there are some exceptions. Personally, I don't meet the requirement for them, so that's why I stopped looking. But I know that there are some exceptions, and if I'm going from memory, it's something like if you were born in the Netherlands but you left and you had citizenship at that second country, and now you're coming back to the Netherlands, then you're able to hold both of those citizenships. Okay. I'm trying to go from memory, but it was something
like that.
Like that, yeah.
Okay. Valerina has a related question for you. Is citizenship your ultimate goal, or is permanent residency sufficient?
That's a really good question and a big question. And this is something that we've been dealing with. And we're talking with an immigration attorney because we lived in the United States for 40 years of our lives. And most of our working was done in the United States, which means our Social Security is there. With everything that's going on, I don't even know if it's still going to be there by the time I retire, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I want to talk with my immigration and my tax attorney to find out what happens if I become a citizen. Will I still have access to my American Social Security or not? My children's still live in the United States. And right now it's really easy for me to travel back and forth because my birth country has changed so much. I just don't know what's going to happen. So I just have a lot of questions in my head. Some of them may just be because of the state of the US right now. I just don't know which way we're going to go because there are things that I never thought we would do as a country that we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make sure if I do become a Dutch citizen, will I still be able to have access to my Social Security? Will it be easy for me to travel back and forth? My husband still has a mom there. You know, how do we take care of her? It's just all of these things that are happening in the background. Right now, permanent residency is sufficient for me because I don't need an employer to sponsor me. But I am definitely thinking about becoming a Dutch citizen.
Okay. Now that you have permanent residency, is your husband able to get permanent residency as well through you?
Yes.
Or does he have to go? He doesn't have to do the whole test thing?
No.
Look at you taking one for the team.
I did. He didn't need to come over. He was the trailing spouse. Now he's benefited.
Okay. It worked out for him. All right. I love it. Has he done it yet, or is it a future thing?
Say it again.
Has he already done the permanent residency, or is it a future thing for him?
He actually has an appointment next month because he was still on the other visa, and he'll switch over to the permanent in next month. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Yay. All right. Let's see if we have any more visa questions right now. The ladies weren't a fan of the dual citizenship answer, but the truth is the truth is the truth. So we're just going to keep moving on. All right. I think we did it. I think we hit the visa. Y'all, like I said, if you have questions, follow Wendy's channel. I'm going to drop it again in the, there we go, in the comment, and it's linked in the description because she talks about it there. Wendy, do you do any consulting for people who want to move over? And how would they get in contact with you for that?
Yeah, so if you go to enjoyingthejourney.com, there is a top nav. It says aspiring expat. And sort of like you and Stephanie, I have a quiz there. So if people want to take that, but then I also have 3 different tiers of the services that I offer. And the first one is a 60-minute orientation call that is customized to your specific situation. So I will send you a document based on what you tell me. And we spend 60 minutes talking about you and your situation, not general information that you can get off of Google.
All right, so I'm going to drop that link in the comments and I'll put it in the description as soon as I can. And so if you have questions, if you want to work with Wendy, if you're like, I'm serious about this, I really want to do it, then work with Wendy. Boom, There you go.
Thank you.
Because she knows what she's talking about. And I don't know any of this stuff. I love being able to find people who know the things I don't know, because, you know, I don't know. I can't tell you nothing about a DAFT visa. But Wendy can. Wendy can. All right. Let's see. We're on our way to no sunshine and rainbows, right?
Okay.
But before we get there, dating.
Okay.
So Jazz, I'm sorry, baby, I'm using you as an example today. Jazz is coming over, single woman with children, single Black American woman, I think is the most important part. The people who come over looking like her, what are generally, because I know it's going to be different from person to person, are they having luck in the dating world if they want it?
Yes, but you have to be mindful that it is a different culture. The way that they do things is going to be very different than it is in the US. It's just when you've been raised in a society, that is your normal. Just like us as Black Americans, you know, what our normal is. So the dating pool here is varied. You have access to many people, but sometimes the cultural differences can really clash.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to be open to seeing things from a different perspective and trying to understand why they're acting the way that they are. Because you may think that they're like aloof or rude or something, and they're just like, no, I was just being honest with you. You know, so you will take it one way, but they meant it a different way. And that's what I would say is when you come over here from a dating perspective, kind of open up your mind, understand that it's a different culture, it's a different way of doing things. And yeah, just know that.
Okay, so my my audience is on like two different, I would say there are two different ends of the spectrum. One is like, why would we even talk about, I hate to be heteronormative with this, but why would we even talk about men? Like, why would we even do this? And the other half is like, if I move there, am I going to be alone forever? And I think the alone forever concern comes from the idea that you might move somewhere where like Black women are never seen as attractive, right? And so I think that's not a concern for everybody, but for the people who are concerned about dating, that's the larger concern. Is like,
I get you.
you know, moving to a place where white supremacy is so powerful and so ingrained that like Black women are always going to be at the bottom of the totem pole.
I understand.
Now we talked about the Netherlands being really diverse. I just want to make sure that my ladies who end up there don't end up in a situation where like the diversity is celebrated in like men, right? Which you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
but not celebrated in women. And so I think that's kind of the concern we're getting. Yeah.
No, I don't think you will end up alone. Again, if you are one of those open-minded people, if you come over here with your very American, it must be done this way, he has to do things this way, or she has to do things this way, you're probably going to run up against a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a different culture, it's a different way of thinking. And here's the thing, I don't think I'm anything special. And I've been out of the dating pool for so long that I don't even know any pickup lines or anything like that. And I am so oblivious most of the time to sometimes somebody has to tell me that guy is hitting on you. And I'm just like, wait, what? I'm 54. What do you mean he's hitting on me? You know,
or with a rock. We can see the rock, Wendy. We can see the rock. 54 with a rock.
It's so funny to me because I'm just sitting there going, me? Like I've seen people looking, I'm just looking behind me going, who they looking at? Because
okay,
you're not looking at me, but no. Yeah, I'm looking at you. And I'm just like,
okay.
So it's flattering. Don't get me wrong. I think any man or woman wants to be seen as attractive by somebody else. So that will happen. But I haven't experienced where it's just like, oh, they're Black. No. Okay. Absolutely not. No. And like I said, I've seen so many relationships where it is an Italian man with a Black American woman, or a Polish woman with a Dutch man. So it's so varied and so diverse here. It's, for me, the biggest thing that stops people is just coming over with these very narrow way of thinking that people should act, and it can be off-putting.
Okay, thank you. Stephanie said you need to book with Wendy now before I tell her that 150 euros is not enough for individualized coaching. Wendy has packages, and the reason I ain't say nothing is Wendy's packages go up to a good number. They go. Wendy has different price points for everybody.
Yeah.
I scrolled the website. So I'm not, people always get mad because I'm usually like, where is your price, girl? And then the audience is like, what are you talking about? But get in there with Wendy before that price goes up, y'all. I didn't say it. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. Okay, so we have talked about, okay, remind me again what this word means.
That's where I live. Yeah, it's the coastal area in Den Haag. Yeah,
that could have been like road or cats or falafel for Allah. I don't have it at all. I don't even have like a way in my brain to like categorize Dutch words. Like if it starts with SDH, it's this, or it ends with NGEN, it's this. No, I don't have. I was like, I don't. Is it a feeling? Is it a vibe? Is it a day of the week? I don't know. But thank you, Ollie and Wendy, for letting us know, because I don't know these things. All right. Let's see. Mercy says, during my trip in June, I noticed a lot of interracial couples and mostly with Black women. Okay. Boom. All right. So let's go to no sunshine.
Okay.
Not all sunshine, not all rainbows.
Yep.
This is Kat's second question about Kat wants to know about the housing shortage. This is her second question about the housing shortage. She was a student who got to university but had to leave because they couldn't find a place to live. Yep. So let's talk about the housing shortage and the economics of it all.
Yeah. So right now, the Netherlands is about 500,000 houses short. That's how big of a crisis this is.
Okay.
When I first moved to the Netherlands, the population, and again, that was like 8 years ago, it was about 17 million. We're at 18 million now. So we are a growing country. And unfortunately, housing has not kept up with the number of people that are coming in. Part of that is just due to the restrictions that we have here from a housing standpoint, how they build homes. Another part is social housing. We don't have enough social housing. What a lot of people are surprised to hear is that the average income in the Netherlands is 3,500 euros a month. So it's not like people are here making 200,000 and 300,000 a year. So you need social housing for people that make less than 3,500 euros. So we have a shortage there, and we have a waiting list for social housing that I believe is somewhere around 12 years long. Like, yeah, it's no joke.
Okay.
And housing is really expensive. They just changed the law about if you like are a landlord. And because of that, some of the landlords have been selling homes. So it makes it even harder for people to rent because now those homes are going for sale.
Okay.
So yeah, the housing shortage is serious. And what Bloom?
Yes, that's Kat.
Okay, what Kat said is 100% true. There was actually like a protest in Utrecht, if not earlier this year, late last year, where they had students like at the train station setting up tents to let them understand how bad this is. Because imagine you get accepted into your dream university. You've done everything, right? And now you've gotten accepted. And then you get a letter telling you don't come if you don't have housing. So they are actually turning students away because there is not housing for them. Because we don't have like dorms like you see in the US. Most students live off-site at an apartment complex or something like that. So we don't have that inventory of dorms where we can put students. So they are battling up against, people on the DAFT visa, other people that are coming in where their companies have moved them in and they have higher incomes. So they're snapping up the homes, snapping up the rental properties. So housing is a huge issue here in the Netherlands.
Okay.
And that is causing some angst around immigration as a whole.
That was my next question for you. Are people blaming foreigners or immigrants for the housing crisis? Was my next question.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
And I think the Netherlands is not alone in this. Unfortunately, you have a subset of the society that will always blame another group that's a little bit lower on the totem pole than they perceive themselves to be. And the immigrants become the natural punching bag. So either you get blamed for coming in, taking their jobs, or you get blamed as an immigrant for coming in and taking their housing. So what you are hearing in other countries, you will hear some of that here in the Netherlands. It is not, I don't want to make it seem like it is the way it is in the US, because there are a lot of smart, well-read people in the Netherlands that know that it's not the immigrants' fault.
Mm-hmm.
They just know that we need more housing. And we need to do something quick about it. But you will have a subset of the society that blames immigrants.
Okay. And it looks like, I'm going to pronounce it wrong again, Ninenjem, and Pretty Kitty Paintings, who are moving or have already just moved or are moving this year, have already found housing. But how do we reconcile the DAFT visa kind of like inviting Americans to come and at the same time not having housing for people who already live there? Like, has there been a slowdown in visa processing that you know about, or is it just like everything's normal, you just might not be able to find a place to live?
Yeah, we've actually seen an uptick in the amount of people coming over that are able to get visas. A lot of Americans that are coming over, and you have seen where there has been a lot of discussion around, why are you constantly letting these foreigners come in when you can't even take care of your own native people? And to be honest with you, I think that's a fair question. So I don't think Dutch people are wrong for asking that question of their government. But yeah, we have seen an uptick, and some people that come over have been able to find housing either because they had the resources to be able to get it, or it was just the right time or something like that. And typically, non-Dutch people are willing to pay a bit more than a native. And I think that happens all over the world. You probably see the same in Mexico City. So that's not abnormal, but that's part of the reason why some people are able to get housing when they come over, because they're willing to spend $5,000 a month to rent, a 2-bedroom. Me personally, happy. But I guess if you're coming over with a company and they're paying for it or paying half, and you only have to pay half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the people coming over on a DAFT visa or coming over as students, Pretty Kitty Paintings coming over as a student, she found a place because her landlord is going to the US. Good. Let's get to the economics of it all. We won't talk about Utrecht. You said that's a university town, but in a place like where you live, Den Haag, if I wanted to rent a 2-bedroom apartment, what's the average rent looking like?
Yeah, the average rent for a 2-bedroom, and usually, just so everybody know, we usually go by square meters.
Mm-hmm.
So a 2-bedroom could probably range anywhere from 50 to 70 square meters. So think round numbers here, 500 to 700 square feet. So it's not humongous, but you would probably look at about 2,000 to 2,500 a
Okay.
month, and that is just for the rent. So you still have your utilities. It's probably going to be a little bit outside, let's say, of the city center, which is
Hmm.
not a problem, but so you may have some transportation costs unless you want to ride a bicycle. So that's something to keep in mind. But I would also tell people that if you're going to come over on the DAFT, and if you are able to do like an online business, go outside of the Randstad. So go outside of Den Haag, Rotterdam, Amsterdam, and Utrecht. Look at the north. Look at the east. There are pockets of those cities where you're able to find housing where it could be a little bit easier on the wallet. If you are like hell bent on, no, I want to be near Amsterdam, then look at the places that are close. So look at Almere. Some people don't like Almere because it was reclaimed from the sea, which means that this was an area that was built up around the 1970s. So you're not going to see the architecture from, the 1200s, the 1400s. It's going to look like the architecture from the 70s. But you're 30 minutes outside of Amsterdam, and the housing can be a little bit cheaper there. But again, still a shortage.
Okay, you said 2,000 to 2,500 for a 2-bedroom. You also said that the average income is about 3,500.
You putting the numbers together.
I put as you said it, the number, I was like, so
Yeah.
so is it that the outside of housing things aren't very expensive and so it's not hard to live on that number, or do the numbers just not work?
We have a different mindset here in the Netherlands.
Mhm.
Number one, we work so we can live. We do not live so we can work.
Mhm.
So we keep our expenses to be in line with our income so we can still enjoy our lives. That means that you are not probably going to be going out to dinner every week. You're probably not going to be shopping every other day. You're probably not going to be taking trips to Southeast Asia, every quarter. So you are looking for ways to be able to cut back. But just like the rest of the world, we are seeing where our money is not going as far as it used to go when I moved here 8 years ago. Just to give you an example, I remember when we moved here, a carton of eggs, typically a carton of eggs has 10 eggs in it. So usually it's not a dozen, it's 10. You could get it for like €1. And now it's €3, 74 cents. So
Okay.
you can just kind of see how things are going up. Um, so that's the problem that we're running into right now is our money is not going as far as it used to go, like everywhere else in the world. But here, you have to be really, really mindful, and that's the part that is not the sunshine and rainbows. Is that if you're spending so much money on just housing, let's not even get into transportation because the transportation costs in the Netherlands is some of the highest costs in Europe. Like,
Really?
oh yeah, for me to catch the train at Den Haag Central and go to Amsterdam Central during peak hours, it's like €15. That's a
How
lot of
long,
money.
how long of a ride is that?
That's about 40 minutes.
Okay. That's feeling real Amtrak-y.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Okay.
It's not cheap. So, you know, I've been asked before, what is the one thing that I don't like about living here? And for me, it's the cost of public transportation. It's just really expensive, especially during peak time. When you're looking at other countries around you that are running specials, in Germany, they ran a special, like for a month, you get a certain fee. Here we get like for a day.
Okay.
So it's not easy here to live off of 3,500 euros a month. And if you go to a city like Utrecht, the square footage gets even smaller, but the cost is still really high compared to what you're getting.
Um, is the housing shortage slash cost part of the reason you decided to build a house yourself?
Yeah, actually it is. We were looking at how much it costs to rent,
Mm-hmm.
and we knew that we wanted to be here long term. And we just kind of did some cost analysis of how much would looking at the equity and how it could build versus because I never think of renting as throwing away money. I'm just not one of those people. When I rent, it gave me a place to stay. That is not throwing away money. So I just had to look at how long do I plan on living here? How much am I willing to put down? How much do I want to spend a month? Like all of these things you have to take into consideration. I told you that I plan on dying here, so I don't have any desire to leave where I am. Buying made sense for us, but if I was had only been here 2 years, I don't think I would have bought in the first 2 years. This is just me personally. I don't think I knew enough to buy in 2 years.
Most people don't. Most people don't. I was just thinking about this the other day about how we're so focused as Americans that like buying is always the answer. We move abroad and bring that same attitude and start making mistakes because you need to know a lot about the local economy, local real estate market
Yeah.
before you start buying property.
A lot of people don't know in Germany, and I don't know the actual number, but it's more than 50% are not homeowners. Like it is substantially more people rent than buy
Yep.
in Germany. So as Americans, we are under this, I don't know where we get this from. We've been sold this lie
Hmm.
that you must own a home or you're wasting your money. And that's just not true. I tell you how you're wasting money is buying crap that you don't need. That's where you're wasting money. You are buying things to prove to somebody that you are something or someone that you're not. And you're trying to impress people that don't even know you exist. Like, stop it. What is it that you want? What is it that brings you joy? That's where you focus your money. And buying a home doesn't make you better than someone else. You probably are a little
Why
bit.
would you say that, Wendy? Why would you say that when that's what America is all based on?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. And let's be honest, my refrigerator back there went out. Crystal knows this. She's in the comments, went out. And I was like, oh, dear Lord, I got to buy a refrigerator because it's not like I can just pull that out the wall. Like that is built in. And like I need somebody to come out here. If I was renting, it would have been a WhatsApp to the homeowner. And, in a couple of days, the person would have been out here, fixed it, and it would have been over with. But as a homeowner, I had to pay for that. My doors, I have floor to ceiling doors. And when I open them up, the stuff, debris and all that, I got to fix all of that. When you rent now, it's hey, homeowner, come fix this. And they come and do it. So don't get it twisted that just because you own a home some kind of way, now you're better and more well off. That's not always true.
Yeah, I have strong opinions about that, but we don't need to talk about that today.
Okay.
Before I end this, have us on a segue for 30 minutes. I am Monique White, who lives in the Netherlands, is here in the comments. Hey, friends. Hey. Let's see. Oh, Ollie. Let me go back to Ollie. Because I have questions, Ollie. Ollie says he pays 605 euros per month for a 2-bedroom house. Now I have questions. How big is the house? What's the square meters? You don't have to tell us any of us if you don't want to, but I just so we have a way to contextualize the number, it would be helpful. Where is it? Like, what city is it in? And is it in the outskirts or is it in the city center? And how long have you been in it, right? Is it a recent rental or have you been in it for a long time? Let us know if you want to. Thank you.
Because I can tell you, just to give you guys some more numbers, when I moved to the Netherlands in 2018, I had a 200 square meter home. 200 square meters. So that's about 2,000 square feet. It was on the eastern side of the country. I paid 900 euros a month to live in that home. That home was built in the 1990s. The landlord was super responsive, but every year my rent would increase with the market rate. My utilities in that home for the light ran about 300 euros a month. We had to pay for trash. And you pay and then you go to the trash thing and scan your card. But this also meant that it took a lot of electricity to heat this home. It was two ground floor and the first floor. There were a lot of rooms we didn't use because it was just the two of us and a dog. But when I moved, I wanted a home that didn't have carpet. That's just a tick of mine. And I had certain criteria, and that's why we ended up selecting this home. So 900 euro, people might be like, that is fantastic. That was in 2018. I looked online the other day at that home, and it was like 1,500 a month. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but you can just see from 2018 to 2026 how much that home has increased. But the energy efficiency on that home rated like a E. That's really bad because if you just do the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, that's how far down it was. And the home that I live in now is A+++, which means my electricity bill is a lot lower because it's more insulated. So in that older home, it took a lot more to keep it cool. It took a lot more to keep it hot. And those are things that sometimes people forget about because maybe the rent is a little bit cheaper, but then I would ask, how much is your utilities as well?
You said $300 a month for your light bill? 300 euro.
300 euro. It's a lot of money.
Mine is like, what's my light bill? Do I pay who pays the electricity here? They pay the water, I pay the gas. I'm now realizing that maybe no one's paying the electric bill because I haven't seen it. But in my old place, my utility bill was oh no, I know they pay. Okay, never mind. Yes, in my old place it was less than $10 every 2 months.
Oh my God.
Right.
Oh, then you probably think we were nuts paying 300.
300, not even dollars, euros.
No, euro.
Euros.
Euro, yeah.
The European. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Let me see. I really had to think about it. Like, who is paying my electricity bill? It was February to April in my new place. So that's February, March, April, 3 months. It was less than $40 in the new place.
Wow.
So
Yeah, even here in this A+++, we pay about 70 euro a month for electricity. Now, I will admit that I work from home. I cook every day, twice a day. I am going through menopause, so you can't see it, but I have ceiling fans, and I'm going to run my ceiling fans because I'm going to stay cool. I don't burn lights throughout the day because it's just lit because of the how many windows we have in the house. So yeah, still 70 euro a month here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would be really interested to hear Ollie, because I do believe that you can find housing that's not super expensive, but I've heard and I've seen people that are paying like 4 and 5 thousand euro a month for an apartment in Amsterdam,
Mhm.
and it's not that it's 150 square meters.
Ollie told us he was in Rotterdam, but he didn't answer the rest
Okay.
of the questions. Come on, Ollie. How big is it? How long have you been there? Let us know. Um, Journey of Life says in Arizona in the summer, we're paying between $600 to $1,000 for electricity. Baby, tap me out.
Jesus.
Because imagine you have kids, right? You gotta keep it at a livable temperature. You can't just be like, well, I can sweat it out, right? You gotta keep it at a livable temperature for them, and probably put them in daycare or school too. Oh, adoption. Ugh.
Okay, I must not complain at all about 70 euro.
Oh, Ollie said he's been there for 10 years. I missed it.
Okay.
Okay. He's been in Amsterdam. We started with 350 a month 10 years ago. Okay. So I think that's really important. And I want Ollie to answer this if he can. Has he looked at all? And is he seeing places for rent around what he's paying right now? So like you started at 350 10 years ago, you're at 650 for a 2-bedroom home right now. For the 2-bedroom homes, if you've seen any that are on the market now, what are they charging? What's the market rate right now, if you know it?
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
just so people know, when I was doing the 2 bedroom, I was looking like in the international zone as
Mhm.
well.
Ooh,
So that matters too. If you are willing to live in kind of different neighborhoods, the price could be a little bit lower. It could be a little bit higher. Here in The Hague, we have an area that's called Wassenaar. It's actually where a lot of people may remember this when the U.S. contingency came over for the NATO summit here in The Hague. They stayed in Wassenaar, so you guys probably heard of it there. It can be a little bit more expensive in Wassenaar versus the area that's near the Haggis market here in Den Haag. But I was looking at the international zone. So that's like where Frederick Hendricklaan is in The Hague, coming toward the coast. And I just did it because I wanted to see where I live, how much are people paying for rent? And yeah, I was quite shocked at how expensive it was now.
okay. Quick little break. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that. If you haven't already subscribed to Wendy's channel, do that. Its link is in the description. I'm gonna drop the link again in the chat. We're here to help you, give you all this information. Go ahead and subscribe. I talk about moving to different countries. In the next few weeks, I'm talking to women who have moved or spent significant time in Panama, Querétaro, Zanzibar, and Ghana.
Nice.
I know you want to watch that. I know you want to see some of those. So,
Zanzibar is beautiful.
yeah. All right. Wendy's YouTube. I can do multiple things at once, Wendy. I can.
I love that you say that. I am going to start using that.
If I don't, then it's like, what was I? What was I? What was I? Okay. Rainbow Girl has a great question. What's the level of accessibility with people's mobility issues?
I love this question because my husband had 3 knee replacements, even though he only has 2 knees, but we're not even going to go there. But mobility
Just be an
issues.
extra for no reason, right? Just be an extra.
I just want to test out the European healthcare system. I love this question about mobility because I've had to really understand this from firsthand. And in the Netherlands versus in Germany, it was a lot more difficult. Here in the Netherlands, I can't even think of a place that you would run into those issues because a lot of people, if you're not, let's say, in a wheelchair, you don't understand how hard it can be to go to a place and there is not a ramp or there's a curb, and how are you going to get up on the curb? Like, I love this question. So, number one, the whole country is set up where people with mobility issues should have access to things that able-bodied people are able to have. We have bicycles and things that companies that build bicycles based on whatever your mobility issue is. So there are people in my neighborhood that have issues with their legs, so they can only cycle with their arms, or vice versa. You have parents who have small children, adult children that don't have use of their arms or their legs. So they have a bicycle that's built where the parent can put that adult child or their child in this area, this seat, and then the parent can do the paddling. If you go to concerts or gardens or museums or restaurants, they have areas where you can still access these places. And I try to make sure that I include this in a lot of my videos, because a lot of people that watch my channel are a little bit older, and I want them to have access to these amazing places that we get to visit. And so I love that question. That, yeah, they are very mindful of that here in the Netherlands.
Okay. All right. Monique says it sounds like you guys are neighbors, so you should I can connect you guys.
Really? Okay. That'd be wonderful.
All right. Knee replacements. Since he did it 3 times, you should have a great idea can you talk about how much it cost?
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Just the knee replacement surgery.
Okay. This is going to be crazy. So I'll just talk about it from an overall standpoint. My husband had 3 knee replacements. The first one, they put it in, it's fine. And then the metal part, like it broke or something. So they had to take the metal piece out. He had to actually stay in the hospital for 30 days because there was nothing in the knee. So the leg had to be like out.
Oh.
Yeah. I had to give him a bath, like this was like real marriage. And we were living in Germany at the time. He had to go through physical therapy. So when all of this was said and done, and when I say physical therapy, like they would pick him up at our home in a van, take him to the facility. They would do meditation hour, which basically meant they just went to sleep. They would feed them breakfast, lunch. And in Germany, they take care of the whole person. So you have to go to like a cooking class, learn how to cook food, blah, 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 blah. So all of this, our bill was 300 euros.
The fact that Americans have not gotten up yet, and I know why. I know why we haven't taken pitchforks to the streets and burned it all down. But people say numbers like that, and I'm like, we got to burn it all down, y'all.
No, seriously. Honestly, I thought that we were going to have to take out a 401k loan because I was just like, oh my God, what is this going to cost? And every month, I'm just like, what's the bill? And they were like, it's fine. And then when he stayed that month, I was like, oh my God, we're going to have to sell everything. Seriously, we're going to have to sell everything. And yeah, our bill was 300 euros.
Okay. Were any of his knee replacements in the Netherlands?
No, everything was done in Germany.
Okay. So
here in the Netherlands, he has had outpatient surgery. He was outside when we lived on the eastern side cutting grass, and he got stung by a bee. Which, okay, you got stung by a bee, but then it wouldn't heal. Like it was getting worse and worse and worse. And then we went to the doctor. If you want, I could tell people a little bit about the healthcare. Everything is gatekept by the GP. So make sure that you get a GP that will listen to you and everything. And your GP must be in your area. I can't like have a GP in Amsterdam.
Right.
And the reason being is if I get so sick my GP needs to be able to make a home visit.
Ooh. Okay.
That's one of the reasons. So he went to the GP. The GP looked at it and said, no, you need to go to the emergency room. When they call, the GP calls, when you get to the emergency room, they literally just ask for your card. And within 2 minutes, you're in the back. There is nobody, like the waiting room,
There's
I
no
think has
hours.
people in
We
it.
can't see you for your bee bite because there's 3 gunshots coming in right now. It's not that kind of situation. Okay.
Oh, so he went to the back, and the doctor came in and looked at it and said, "Yeah, we need to cut this area out right here." And he like called me because he just went in for a bee had stung him. So I stayed at home, and he called and he was like, "They're gonna have surgery." I'm going on a freaking bee sting. Are you kidding me? So they had to do a little thing back there, and he had to spend the night overnight, and then they showed me how to clean everything and all that good stuff, and we came home, and yeah, we didn't get a bill.
No bill at all.
None.
GP,
GP, emergency room,
room,
surgery,
surgery,
overnight,
overnight.
come
No.
home.
First of all, I was shocked. I don't know about y'all, but I was shocked by the overnight. Because what you mean, you just cut out a piece of a neck and he got to spend the night in the hospital. Meanwhile, you could have 7 pieces falling out of you and they're going to send you home in the U.S. Okay.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of people make fun of the Dutch. It's a running joke in the Netherlands that if you go to the GP, he or she will say, take a paracetamol, which is the active ingredient in Tylenol. So acetaminophen.
Yeah.
And if you are really hurt, take 2 paracetamol. But we have an amazing GP. I think all of the doctors in the Netherlands are probably really great. I just think mine is the best. He listens to us, he talks to us, and even if we come in with a complaint and he sees something else, he will talk to us about it. I will go on record as saying, coming to the Netherlands, first time I've ever had a medical professional address my weight.
Okay.
No one in the United States ever addressed my weight.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing for you?
I think it's a good thing. Let's be honest, as a person that's overweight, I know I'm fat. Like it wasn't like breaking news for me, but I never had anyone to address it. And he wasn't rude or anything, but he did, because I came in talking about my knees. And he was like, let's get on the scale. And okay, let's talk about why your joints are hurting. And yeah, this is why. And we have a dietitian. And you need to go see it. You can go see a dietitian, and all of that is covered under my my insurance. But yeah, it's the GP is central to your healthcare in the Netherlands, and I don't know if using the word gatekeeper is a good way of saying it, but they're the ones who will determine like the specialists that you will see, the kind of things that you will need, things of that nature. So definitely make sure you get a really good GP. And here in Den Haag, we actually have an international health center. The receptionist is Italian. My doctor is Dutch. My dietitian is French. My pharmacist is Greek, British, and Romanian. So you can see, very international.
Okay, very, very diverse.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to kind of speed through some questions to get you out of here in a reasonable hour. I love this one from Tori, Prophet Mother. What does Wendy do for fun?
Whew. Wendy loves to explore.
Okay.
So I will get on my bike and just go to a different neighborhood, or get on a tram or a bus and go to a different neighborhood and try different food. Part of my overweight, I love food. So I just love to, get out and see what else is happening beyond my own neighborhood and try different food. I love food.
All right. First, Stephanie's here, so I want to make sure we get credit for this. name I cannot pronounce correctly. Thank you. I'm currently house sitting, and so my partner's ready. I made it here because of the Exodus Summit community. Thank you so much, Roshida,
Nice.
Stephanie. Thank you for being part of the community. Thank you for going to a place we don't really talk about, so that you can now help other women get there. It's one of the things I love about our community. So thank you. S. Thorne wants to know how you feel about the holiday celebration of Zwarte Piet.
Zwarte Piet, yeah.
Zwarte?
Yeah. So here in the Netherlands, unlike the United States, where we celebrate with Santa Claus for December 25th, we have Sinterklaas. And Sinterklaas is a mythical figure. No, I guess it's not mythical, it's real. He comes over on the steamboat from Spain. At least he comes into the Scheveningen harbor. And Zwarte Piet are his helpers. And his helpers are in blackface. And the reason that the Dutch say he's in blackface is that he comes down a chimney and get the soot on his face. And this has been a very difficult conversation for people here in the Netherlands, people that love that whole celebration around Sinterklaas, and for people, particularly people of color, that feel that it's extremely disparaging toward us. What the Dutch have done for the most part is now say they won't be in complete blackface, that they would like have smudges of black soot on their face. And for me as an outsider, it was very difficult. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's very difficult to see this blackface. It was just kind of like, are you freaking kidding me that this is happening? And I understand the history behind it. But I must say that for the most part, particularly here in Den Haag, it is now just the smudges of dirt that they have on the face. It's not complete blackface.
Okay. So when you said the Dutch have decided it's just going to be smudges, my first thought was like, if they're anything like American whites, there's going to be people who are like, you're going to take that away from me over my dead body, right? Like, we're going, it's always going to be a complete blackface. When it was kind of decided that it's just going to be smudges, was there that pushback of like, no, this is cultural, this is our heritage, we have to wear a complete blackface?
Absolutely. There were some people that were advocates for it because they did not see it the way it was being received by people of color. And mind you, some of these people, these are Dutch people that were born and raised in the Netherlands that are Black. So it's not like these were foreigners that were all saying this. This was some people that are Dutch themselves. And, you know, a lot of other Dutch people are like, we get it. We understand it. We see where you're coming from, even though that was not the intention. That is not why it was that way, but we understand now where this is coming from. But absolutely, you do have a part of the society that is just like, this is our heritage, this is what it means. It doesn't mean that that's not what it was for. So absolutely, you have that. But it wasn't, at least I did not hear where people was like, damn it, we're going to keep this because this is important. It was just like, no, that's not what it meant.
Okay. All right. Then last question. It's kind of a big one, but we'll make our way through. How's the infrastructure? How's climate change there? Do they have flooding issues or major things that will disrupt your living that you have to be mindful of?
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the infrastructure. Like I said before, we have really good infrastructure here, roads, highways. I am not afraid of, like riding my bike and thinking that the bridge is going to fall on my head. We have segregation when it comes to traffic. That's the only time. It's kind of weird for me to use that word because that's the one time when segregation comes up in the Netherlands, and it's regarding our traffic where there is trains, trams, cars, bicycles, walking paths. So everything has its place, and it's really good. And they do a really good job of keeping the roads and everything safe. As far as climate change, it's a real thing here. People are not saying that it doesn't exist. Like I said, that it got hotter here for the first time in June. And it's the hottest summer so far since they've been keeping records. So people know that something is happening. There used to be a skating thing where all of the canals connected and you could skate to different provinces. And they haven't been able to do that in a few years because it just hasn't gotten cold enough. So people know that there is something happening and that it's real and they actually believe the science here. So I think that's good and it's interesting, different from my birth country. The flooding issue. So most people know that most of the Netherlands is below sea level, and they have different ways of combating this. We have things like the Delta Works, dikes, and things of that nature. Like I talked to you about Almere, where they reclaim the land from the sea. So that is an active thing that happens here in the Netherlands. It's one of the only times that foreigners are able to vote, because water is so important to us that when you get here as a foreigner, you can vote on the water board. That's how important it is to us. The government subsidized swimming lessons for children here in the Netherlands because it is a requirement that everyone should know how to swim, because again, we are under sea level. Major things that disrupt your major things that disrupt your living that you have to be mindful of. Unlike the US, when there is a strike, we get notification, which the first time it happened, I thought, didn't you just lose your leverage? But it is not done to disrupt the everyday man. It's done to send a signal to whoever they are opposed to. So whenever we have any kind of strike or what have you, they give you enough time to plan. Some companies will tell their employees just work from home, or we do some kind of abbreviated schedule because not everybody can work from home. Trying to think what else can disrupt our living. One thing that people need to be mindful of is the first Monday in every month, you will hear a siren that goes off in the Netherlands, and it will disrupt you if you don't know what that is. And it is a warning signal that we have. It started from World War II, and they test it to make sure everything that works. And if something really, really happens, everyone gets a notification on their mobile phone that this is what's happening. I hope I answered everything. Dropping knowledge. I can't hear you anymore.
I muted myself. There's a helicopter above.
Okay.
I live in a place where I get scenic tours of helicopters over my head, like
Gotcha.
5 to 15 times a day.
Okay.
So the question was how's infrastructure was a question that came up again and again. And I think that in a place where you're paying 49% taxes and your money is not being sent to other countries, right? Like your infrastructure is bound to be better than in some other places, right?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I mean, will there be other Dutch people? I'm sure I hear it. Other Dutch people in the comments that say, oh, it could be better. Absolutely. There are things that we could do better, but as an outsider, when I look at my birth country and my home country now, I see where my tax euros are going. I struggled with that in the US. And I don't think a lot of people understand it until you're in the situation where bridges are collapsing, or the roads are tearing up your tires, or if I'm supposed to ride a bike, but now I hit a pothole and I went over my bike and cracked my head open. You don't really understand how important that infrastructure is. And they do a damn good job in the Netherlands. Like even, we have the cobblestone streets. This is one thing, kind of a little bit off topic, but they recycle the bricks, which I think is just indicative of how the Dutch are thinking. How are ways that we can be more efficient, use what we already have, and not always need to tear down things. So we have buildings that are like 1,200 years old that they go in and they modify and bring them up to code, and then they put in mixed housing. So it's all of these things that are happening in the country.
Okay. I want to thank you for your time, y'all. Wendy has been nothing but excellent today. Wendy's been really good. I'm glad we were able to do this. I'm going to drop a link to her YouTube channel again. If you haven't subscribed to her channel and you have any interest in the Netherlands, please go do that. If you haven't liked this video yet, like it. If you know someone who's curious about the DAFT visa, please share it with them. If they're curious at all about Netherlands or the EU in general, share away. Thank you so much, Wendy. This was amazing.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yay. Y'all, thank you for being here, and thank you for always being kind and having questions, because you guys have such great questions.
You have an amazing community. But I watch your channel and I always go to the comments section. So
yay, they're really great. So I'm glad that you had an opportunity to be here. Like I said, there's the link to Wendy's website, the link to work with Wendy, and the link to her channel are in the description. I think, let me know in the comments real quick if you weren't considering the Netherlands before, but you are right now, or if you were considering it, but you weren't anymore. Let me know. I need to see. And Lady Sarita Flutter by PNW wants you to hit the like button. I think that I love living in Mexico City, but there are things that you said in this live stream where I was like, maybe I could spend some time in the Netherlands.
You should.
My thing is, I don't want to commit to a country where I have to be committed, right? I can only be gone for 4 months. What if I want to spend, 12 months traipsing around? So, but I can come spend 90 days, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm sure that I would have to do a little bit of research to look at extensions because, like I said, my husband's mother lived there, and if there was a serious accident or something, I don't think they'll be like, girl, you've been gone for 4 months.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're out of here. There are rules, but they're usually exceptions to things. And you can just ask. And like I said, with the IND, you can call, you can text, you can do the chat thing. So it's ways of being able to get information directly from the source. And that's one of the things that I love about here is that you can ask.
Good. Wendy, you've made a difference. Tori had never considered it, but now she is. Dion wasn't considering it, but she is. The Quietly Elsewhere is considering it. Stephanie was considering raising her kids in the Netherlands and still is. Pretty Kitty Paintings will be there in 17 days.
Please contact me. I would love to hear about it. Yeah.
Congratulations. Parasati's going to look up the Netherlands now. Lady Sarita never considered it, but she will visit. Raven is adding it to her bucket list. Joanna Elizabeth said definitely somewhere to consider. Jas is definitely considering. Jas as an entrepreneur, you know what I'm going to say. Go check it out. You already have a business.
Yeah.
And then our wonderful Francine is saying words that I don't think she's cursing me out, so I'll put it on the screen. But I don't know. I can guess what one word in that. I guess maybe 2 words in there. That's it. A luxury bucket list is one of the countries my husband wouldn't mind living in. We didn't really talk about your husband besides, his multiple knees situation. He really likes the Netherlands.
He loves the Netherlands. I think my husband was born in the wrong country. He should have been born here. He is such a Dutchie. He is way more Dutchie than I am. So yeah, and he has some Dutch colleagues. They call each other brothers. That's how close they are. And he's part of a motorcycle club. He rides a Harley, and he's part of the motorcycle club in Rotterdam. So yeah, he loves it.
I was going to ask if he was able to find community there, but clearly, yes.
He's absolutely. My husband is more of a social butterfly than I am. I tell everybody I'm the quiet one. Nobody believes that. But yeah, he loves it here.
Okay. Amazing. Congratulations to you and to him. Because I love when people find their place, and you found your place.
Yeah, for sure.
Y'all, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, Wendy. Next week, We talked to Sibi, who's a regular member in the chat, about her life in Querétaro, Mexico. So I hope you guys come back for that. And let me know in the comments or email me if you want to see a country in particular. You can make requests, just not too specific, right? Like general requests, or I can't. It's hard to find someone who lives in a very specific town out in the middle of nowhere, but I've never heard of before. That's probably not a request I can do, but a general country we can try to do. Thank you guys. Thank you, Wendy. I'm going to end the live stream now.
Okay.
Wendy, hang on for a second.
Okay. Bye, everyone.